Posse and Suzanne Chalene are illegal aliens. Illegal aliens.
Can it be true?
We have probable cause to believe that they're in this country illegally. We've obtained a warrant to bring them in for questioning.
Tomato's surprise announcement left the Sundogs stunned and helped the Enforcers become leaders of the pack. Tonight, the Enforcers defend their title, but who will they meet? The first game in our doubleheader has a controversy all its own.
Brian, is that the Quake playbook in your briefcase? Wouldn't you like to know?
Just what is that over the shoulder of former Quake Brian Gallagher? Could it be his old team's secrets?
Remember this, Brian. You got the playbook, but we got the player.
Find out what happens when Texas takes on California for a shot at the mega match. So, are you ready to roller jam?
From Orlando, Florida, Universal Studios, this is the World Skating League. Tonight on the first game of our doubleheader, it's the Texas Rustlers against the California Quakes. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Roller Jam Arena. I'm Ken Resnick, along with my broadcast partner, Lee the Hawk Rehrman. Hawk, a couple of weeks back at the hands of the New York Enforcers, we saw the Texas Rustlers endure one of the most lopsided beatings in WSL history. The question, can they really compete against the elite of the WSL?
Well, not only was it lopsided, it was embarrassing. And waiting in the wings are those same Enforcers for the mega match, the second half of our doubleheader. But more importantly, the Rustlers have to get out, get on top early, or I tell you what, if they lose confidence tonight, they might be in a big trouble for the whole season.
And there is additional controversy. Brian Gallagher, remember, was traded from the California Quakes to the Texas Rustlers. The Quakes seem to think he stole his playbook and took it with him. And as you can well imagine, nothing phases Quake captain Sean Atkinson.
Brian, I considered you family, part of the Quake family. Then I find out you're selling plays to D'Amato. That's why he's got my number. That's why he's jacking me up. Now I find you stole the playbook. Oh, Daddy, let me tell you something. I carried your ass. Now it's time to kick your ass. Raise the roof, little man.
I'll tell you, Sean can squawk all he wants, but if they have that playbook, they're in trouble.
Let's go trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing from the dusty prairies of the Lone Star State, the team that vows to last through the Quakes, here come the Texas Rustlers!
Certainly the question surrounding the Texas Rustlers, they put behind them the beating they endured at the hands of the New York Enforcers. The Rustlers certainly an enigma in the WSL. Flashes of brilliance, but never coming close, Hawk, to putting it all together.
Well, their forte is team speed, Ken. Laura Hyzer, Brian Gallagher, and crew better put that team speed here to play today, or they're going to be in trouble.
Talisa Miller, certainly the go-to member of the Texas Rustlers, along with the speed of Laura Hyzer right there. Now, here's Tom Chasson.
And now, the team that believes life is just one big tanning bed, the California Quakes!
There's absolutely no question the California Quakes come into this one the heavily favored team over the Texas Rustlers. They've got a card against certainly being guilty of perhaps looking ahead to making it to the mega match and the New York Enforcers.
Well, they're fully aware of what happened to these Rustlers at the hands of the New York Enforcers last night. Sean Atkinson doesn't need any encouragement to get after him, but this whole playbook controversy, Sean Atkinson, Brian Gallagher, a missing playbook, he's playing to the crowd. Let's see what happens and if he gets angry.
And now, starting for the Texas Rustlers will be Laura Lavin, Pam Hutchinson, Renae Blevins, Carrie Johnston, and their go-to skater, Talisa Miller. For the California Quakes, all the bot squad in the starting lineup. Cindy Zimmerman, Jamie Konomak, and Malibu Stacy Blitch, along with their big blocker, Brooke Sunderman. Rounding out the starting five is Faith Urban. And certainly the Texas Rustlers need to get out to a good start. They have struggled all year, showing flashes of brilliance. And right off the bat, their spark plug, Renae Blevins, is leading the jam, being pursued closely by Jamie Konomak of the bot squad. Cindy Zimmerman and Pam Hutchinson, who just went down, still trail the pack. And now Konomak gives the elbow to Blevins, and down she goes. And here comes Konomak closing around. This is the last thing Hawk the Rustlers needed to get this game underway.
Well, Jamie Konomak caught up to Renae Blevins like she was standing still. And I tell you what, the Rustlers, we saw it a couple weeks ago with the against the Enforcers, maybe in for a long day, Ken.
And now Konomak closes. Blevins, smart move, staying back to block, knowing she has no hope of putting any points on the board for the Rustlers. And a big elbow slows down Konomak, but it's going to take more than that to drop one of the bot squatters off her skates. Again, The elbow from the Rustlers spark plug. Conomac still on her feet. We're under 10 seconds left in the jam. If Conomac wants some points, she better hurry and get by the spark plug of this Texas Rustlers team. And she does just that, sending Blevins into the rail. You see the high five from Stacy Blitz.
And a jubilant Jamie Conomac, and she has a lot to celebrate, Ken. She scores some points, and at the end, Renae Blevins, the beneficiary of physical play by Jamie Conomac. Great job.
And I think the high five from Stacy Blitz to Conomac answered some questions. Certainly the bot squad and seemingly the entire California Quakes team very united. Now switch Heather Sunderman wearing the jammer helmet along with Amy Craig. Craig back from an injury, and there's no question the Quakes have missed her speed. But look at Laura Hyzer. They call her Taz, just blow by the pack. But there again, Amy Craig, certainly one of the fastest Quakes, and what a battle here between Hyzer, who's one of the smartest players in the league, and Amy Craig, one of the quickest.
Well, and Amy Craig, we talk about how great of a skater she is and how good of that her speed is, but she's a very efficient skater, and you got to think that injury is going to really slow her down today, Ken. Even though she's back, she still may be injured.
And they both close on the pack, and you see Stacy Blitz doing a great job of blocking. Amy Craig weaving by one of the Rustlers that goes into the rail, and Craig quickly cuts off the jam, and it is now 2-0 California Quakes.
And Stacy Blitz goes right after Talisa Miller, Ken. Talisa Miller was getting physical on that last jam, trying to show a statement here, and Stacy Blitz will have none of it, goes right after her to show her who's boss.
Smart move by Stacy Blitz. There's no question Talisa Miller, the go-to skater for the Rustlers. Stacy Blitz trying to make a statement as who's the toughest. Danny?
Okay, I'm here with the tank, Talisa Miller of the Rustlers. What is your opinion about Stacy Blitz? You just got in a fight with her and the bod squad in general.
She's been in a tanning bed way too long. I think it's like fried something up here, too.
Stacy Blitz has certainly proved her accolades on the track with the Quakes in the lead. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone, and we've certainly been looking at a whole new Stacy Blitz. The question is, how long will it last, and is it for real?
Well, Malibu Stacy's got the Quake women off to a good start, but you're absolutely right. These girls are volatile. Could be a pretty exciting game.
And the Texas Rustlers had better get something going. They can ill afford to fall too much behind. It's only 2-0, but certainly that goose egg on the board has got to be eating at the Rustlers. And now out for the California Quakes. This is Heather Sunderman, and also jamming for the Quakes, Cindy Zimmerman, Renae Blevins, a spark plug, along with Pam Hutchinson. And right now, it is Heather Sunderman and Renae Blevins, and Zimmerman and Hutchinson both go down. Here they come around the corner, still 2-0 Quakes, and Hawks so far we've seen very little out of the Rustlers.
Well, I got to take my hat off to Renae Blevins. She's out there really setting a precedent that these Rustlers are not going to sit around and take the beating that they had from the Enforcers recently. They're coming to play here in the World Skating League.
And now Stacy Blitz back to block, allows Sunderman to go right by it. She zeroes in on Blevins, sends her into the rail. Sparkplug does a good job of staying on her skates against Stacy Blitz, and it's certainly a brand new Stacy Blitz. Very team-oriented. That center of attention seems to have gone by the boards. But now one of the Rustlers ties up Stacy Blitz, and finally Texas is able to get on the board. And Stacy Blitz going over to remind Talisa Miller she put her down once and she put her down again.
And Ken, I think she just blew kisses at Tink Miller. But right here you see what precipitated the anger right there as Tink Miller goes down at the hands of Stacy Blitz. Stacy Blitz points for the Quakes, points for the Rustlers. It's getting ugly here, Ken.
And we're underway again, 3-1 California Quakes, but at least we're seeing some spark of offense now from the Texas Rustlers. And there you see coming high, one of their bigger jammers out, but unfortunately right off the bat, taking the whip for the Quakes was Brooke Sunderman. We don't see Brooke out jamming too much, but I think they took a look at the playbook of the Rustlers and said, if you're going to go big on the jam, we'll do exactly the same. Oh, nice move by Carrie Johnston, almost going down but keeping her balance. A little unusual sight, two of the bigger gals in the WSL out jamming. Carrie Johnston for the Rustlers and Brooke Sunderman for the Quakes.
Well, and I tell you what, Ken, we don't see this very often as Carrie Johnston goes down at the hands of Brooke Sunderman, but you see two of the bigger women in the World Skating League out in a jam. It's good to see some new life in this league.
And we'll see if Brooke Sunderman can put any points on the board. We're down to 10 seconds left in the jam. And a great, again, job of blocking by Stacy Blitz. I don't know what's gotten into her, but boy, she is certainly a team player, at least for the moment. Brooks Sunderman now trying to catch up to the pack, but just ran out of time.
All right, I'm here with the man of the hour, Brian Gallagher. And Brian, I know you feel betrayed. You've been dissed, you think, by your ex-team, the Quakes, being traded to the Rustlers. But to stoop so low as to steal the Quake playbook, come on, man, that's Bush League.
You know, that is only an accusation. No playbook that I steal. Those plays were mine. If you notice the way Sean skates, he doesn't skate by any plays. He jumps around, hits hard, just fights all the time. Those plays were mine.
Finally, Faith Urban breaks out for the Sundogs, but for the California Quakes, rather, but she is trailing Laura Lavin. Lavin out of Cleveland, Ohio, 5'3", 1 1/4. And down goes Faith Urban. Faith's had kind of a tough season so far for the Quakes. And now a golden opportunity for Lavin, as now finally Amy Craig breaks from the pack along with Laura Hyzer. But right now, it's Laura Lavin who's got the opportunity to put some Rustler points on the board. They need it, trailing 4-1.
Well, and the Rustlers are obviously trying to find themselves, Ken. Most teams here in the World Skating League, you see the same jammers out time and time again. For the Rustlers, we see a different jammer out every time. They're really trying to find their place and their role here in the World Skating League.
And now Lavin catches up to the pack, trying to get some blocking help. And right now, 2 California Quakes back. Faith Urban back to block, as is Stacy Blitch, who has assumed the role so far this entire game of blocker. And a big elbow from Talisa Miller sent Stacy Blitch over the rail. And some points on both sides right now.
And Amy Craig scored for the Quakes and Laura Hyzer for the Rustlers. But we're seeing some uncharacteristic physical play. We talked about their speed, but Brooks Sunderman goes down at the hands of Tink Miller, and Stacy Blitch, no stranger to physical play. It's getting rough out here, Ken.
As the men now are getting ready to take the track, here's a look at 3 of the men and their moves.
Roller Rules, brought to you by Dial 1-800-AT&T for collect calls.
I'm Christian Salve from the Hot Dice. Being from Vegas, I have ripped ladies, so I can love machine gun. Try this at home, put either hand on the head and just pump it, baby. Love machine, please. You know the white pony is where it's at? When I'm out on the jam with those wannabe jammers from the other team, I gotta find a way to humiliate them even more, knocking them down. So I pull the pony out.
All this showboat crap is weak. I'm Mark Webber of the Nevada Hot Dice, and my signature move hurts. When I see a jammer coming, I wait. I crouch down, hit them low, pop them up, and I roll the bones.
The men are on the track. We'll be back with the start of the second period right after this. Welcome back, everyone. The men are on the track, and Hawk, if Brian Gallagher did, in fact, have the playbook, it hasn't had much effect so far.
Well, you're right. The Quake women out to a quick start. You can steal the plays from the Quakes, but can you put those same plays into the Rustlers?
And Broadway Danny Wolf is standing by with the captain of the California Quakes, Sean Atkinson, and guaranteed Sean will have something always to say.
All right, I'm here with Sean Atkinson of the Quakes. What about Brian Gallagher, your ex-teammate, stealing your playbook? What's that?
I tell you what, I should give him more plays because they're not telling enough to run the ones they got. Brian Gallagher, we carried him, okay? I tell you what, now it's time to break him. Oh, Daddy, hold on.
Well, I hope Gallagher and friends are holding on because Sean Atkinson looks pretty steamed, Ken.
And very interesting, Brian Gallagher is not in the starting lineup, but Chris Cheadle, Craig Fisher, Bill Daly, Bill Roquevert, and the speedster Marcus Abrera are on the track for the Rustlers. For the California Quakes, Captain Sean Atkinson, Big Rusty Montgomery, along with Chad Vaughn, the White Pony Eric Slopey, and Gary Lockaby.
And let's see if we see some of that team speed by the Rustlers, Ken.
And we're off with the men. The women and the Rustlers did a good job of keeping this one close. We'll see how the men Rustlers do right out the front. It's 2 of the California Quakes and 1 jammer, and they all 3 go down. And now a golden opportunity for Marcus Abrera as he breaks free. The other 3 jammers all at the end of the pack. And what a golden opportunity for Abrera at 5'8", 160 pounds. Golden opportunity, Hawk. This is what the Rustlers have needed.
Well, you saw a really smart play by Craig Fisher there. He took down 2 of the jamming Quakes and allowed number 43 Marcus to get out and break ahead of the pack for some points.
And you see Sean Atkinson, the leader of the California Quakes, 1 elbow, and he just de-skated Abrera. Skates came right out from under him. The big elbow from the captain of the California Quakes. And certainly Sean Atkinson early on has said he has his sights not only set on the entire Rustler team, but he plain doesn't like Captain Bill Daly of the Rustlers. And now you've got to give Abrera credit. He comes up and tries it again. Exact same result. No points. Sean Atkinson certainly blocked down, and he is going right back. He hasn't had enough of Abrera to the beginning. Now he sets him up. The big Texas Bulldog, shades of blackjack Lanza. Sean Atkinson raising the roof, and he has certainly raised the ceiling on Marcus Abrera.
Well, and he's playing to the crowd. He's beating on himself a little bit. I wonder if that hurts him when he does that, Ken. But Marcus Abrera, number 43, unfortunately, met a very aggressive Sean Atkinson during the jam. Here's a second shot to Marcus Abrera, and if that wasn't enough, jam's over. He does a little wardrobe work to Marcus Abrera, and last but not least, a Texas Bulldog to the head of Marcus Abrera. Ugly.
There's no question Sean Atkinson is making a statement. Who is the toughest in the league to the Texas Rustlers? And according to the rules of the WSL, Sean Atkinson in the penalty box, a one-jam penalty for hitting after the play had ended. It is 5-3 Quakes, but they're skating short-handed. And right now, Chris Cheadle breaks out for the Texas Rustlers along with Craig Fisher. The Rustlers trying to seize this opportunity as they have a one-man advantage. But very quickly, here comes Mark James for the Quakes, and suddenly breaking out as well, Anthony Santiago. So that two-man advantage on jammers for the Rustlers evaporated very quickly at the hands, I think, of the much faster California Quakes. And down goes Anthony Santiago. Both the Quake jammers go down. Once again, the Rustlers a golden opportunity, but they better quit admiring their handiwork. As coming up, a double block being set up by Big Rusty Montgomery and Chad Vaughn. We'll see if the Rustlers can go by. Good job, Brian Gallagher, the veteran, trying to break it up. We talked about some of the questions on the Quakes. Gallagher is able to break up the double block. Again, the Quakes questioning that missing playbook. All hands pointing at Brian Gallagher.
And you saw something very interesting by the Rustlers. We see two jammers. Both of them scored 2 points against the California Quakes. That's their forte, Ken. They've got great team speed. They've got great jammers. The Quakes missed the jamming ability of Brian Gallagher. The Texas Rustlers took full advantage of it there.
Well, it's very smart by the Rustlers. They know they can't match the physical play of the California Quakes, but if you can't match them physically, if they can't catch you, they can't do anything to you. The Rustlers using their speed.
And Brian Gallagher's using a little bit of his mouth right there, too, against Sean Atkinson, Ken.
At any rate, surprised, the Rustlers have taken the lead, and the women certainly like it. And Sean Atkinson not very happy right now with his team trailing the Rustlers 7-5. The Texas men doing a great job of regaining control of this one. And now breaking out is Eric Slopey. He'll look for the opportunity to get on that white pony of his, but right now being pursued very quickly, and catching up to him is Craig Fisher. Slopey sends Fisher into the rail. Craig does a very good job out of maintaining his balance and is right back after the white pony of the California Quakes.
And Eric Slopey, the white pony, doesn't usually get physical. I don't know what the heck he's trying to do with Craig Fisher. Eric Slopey, all of about 102 pounds. Craig Fisher not that much bigger, but he still probably has him about 30, even being a very skinny guy for the Rustlers.
Slopey actually 6'5", 155, but he is tall and lean. Now it goes by Atkinson, and you see what Sean does. They both go down. But Atkinson just levels Craig Fisher. Another of the Rustlers go down. A big opportunity right here for the California Quakes to regain the lead.
And they don't regain the lead, Ken, but they definitely tie the score. Eric Slopey gets a point, as does number 22, Gary Lockamy. But more importantly, Sean Atkinson showing the physical play as Craig Fisher goes down. We saw some points last jam by the Texas Rustlers because of their jamming ability. Obviously, he wants to set a precedent, does Sean Atkinson, as he goes after Big Bill Daly, number 49, Ken.
Well, I think what happened there, Sean Atkinson's handiwork may have cost his team because both his jammers got tangled up on his fallen body and prevented them from picking up any more points, but at least they have tied it up.
Hey, baby, you better say so.
And we see the mega match participants, leaders of the pack, the New York Enforcers, over there in the stands getting ready. But here, Bill Daly, number 49, who's not a small man, as Sean Atkinson mixes it up with Bill Daly. The right, the left, the head knock. I think he's chewing on him, Ken. Physical play all over the place. Speaking of physical play, and the Bod Squad loves it, Ken. They're dancing, they're jabbing. I wonder what the Texas Rustlers are thinking. They got the Bod Squad dancing, and they got Sean Atkinson punching.
Well, after the last time we saw the Rustlers, they have to be very pleased that they are still tied with the California Quakes as action picks up. We're all tied up at 7, and you've got to give Captain Sean Atkinson some credit between his whoa daddies. He tells it like it is. He told us he had no love lost for Bill Daly, and he showed it right there. Now breaking out again for the Quakes is Mark James. James, a newcomer, but showing a lot of speed. And again, we see Anthony Santiago, and this time does get physical. Dropped one of the Texas Rustlers, Chris Cheadle. Now you've got James and Eric Slopey all alone, closing in on the pack. We're tied at 7, but here they come. Oh, James goes down from a big elbow from Captain Bill Daly of the Rustlers. Daly really taking control of this one. You see Sean Atkinson suddenly laying back from now, trying to come up from behind that Bill Daly. Exactly what he does. Great move by the Quake captain. Drops Bill Daly with the elbow. Both the Quake jammers go by, and he does the same move again, dropping Chris Cheadle. Double jamming points for the California Quakes.
And Mark James and Tony Santiago both score points, but this was all Sean Atkinson, whose physical play paved the way for his teammates, Ken.
And Broadway Danny Wolf is standing by with the latest on the immigration situation of the Chalines.
All right, we all saw the happenings last week with Posse and Suzanne Chalene. They were taken off the track by an INS agent at the hands of Mark D'Amato. All we know right now is that the Florida Sundog attorneys are with the Chalines, as well as a specialist in these immigration matters. What we also know is there is a court appearance this week, and if anything breaks, the Roller Jam cameras will be on hand, and we'll bring it to you next week. Back to you, Ken and Huck.
It's halftime, and suddenly it's all California Quakes. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to Roller Jam Arena. It's halftime. I'm Ken Resnick, along with my partner, Lee the Hawk Rehrman. As expected, the California Quakes beating up on the Texas Rustlers by a score of 17-7. And, Hawk, you've got to wonder, perhaps, the Quakes are already beginning to look ahead to the mega match coming up. Hopefully, they're meeting with the New York Enforcers. But one thing for certain, if, in fact, Brian Gallagher does have the Quakes playbook, it has had little or no effect because Sean Atkinson has been very physical indeed.
Well, these Rustlers that we're looking at tonight are in danger of becoming like the infamous homecoming team for all college and high school football players. And I tell you what, Sean Atkinson in the first half did the same thing that Mark D'Amato and some of these guys did a couple of weeks ago. But right here you see Sean Atkinson. You see the big elbow to the face of a Rustler. Sean Atkinson even goes down. He doesn't care. And right there, that wasn't a Superman. That wasn't the skyscraper. That was just 100% can of whoop-ass, I think, from Sean Atkinson.
Where have I heard that term before? At any rate, on the women's side, I've got to give credit where it's due. Stacy Blitch has been all over the track, both blocking and jamming.
Well, and Stacy Blitch, we always talk about Malibu Stacy and her showing off and her ostentatiousness. Right here, helmet comes off, of course, so she can show that good head of hair. But I tell you what, when it comes to crunch time, she goes right over the rail. And I think that's Teak Miller. They were going in it the whole first half. Stacy Blitch and Sean Atkinson are really showing these Rustlers who's boss.
And we talked about it, wondering if, in fact, the Rustlers could stay with one of the elite teams. It appears today is not the case. But anyway, take a close-up look at the Texas Rustlers.
In the loud and crazy WSL, these Cowboys are a breed apart.
This is the real Texas Rustlers out here on our horses, wide open space.
True to the Lone Star State, the Rustlers are at home on the range and on the track.
Me and the Rustlers, I tell you, we have a good time out here on the ranch. Out here on the horses, having bonfires, having a good time.
But they're not just a bunch of ranch hands. Yeah! The Rustlers have also got plenty of action. Rookie Sigmund Williams is among the WSL's fastest jammers.
You may have never heard of me, but once you see me skate, you won't ever forget me.
Professional kickboxer Renae Blevins adds some punch to the Texas women's lineup.
I may be little on the outside, but in here, I'm as big as anybody in a WSL.
These Rustlers are out to round up success.
Yeehaw! The Texas Rustlers may be at home on the range, but not on the track. Broadway Danny Wolf is standing by with enforcer captain Mark D'Amato, who's still intent on running the Chalines of the Sundogs out of the country.
All right, I'm here with Mark D'Amato. It's halftime. You are the leaders of the pack, the enforcers. You're awaiting the winner of this game. It looks like the Quakes right now up by 10 points at halftime. They're on their way to facing you, which will be a huge mega match.
Yeah, the mega match. I'm interested in getting revenge on Atkinson this week for what he did to my eye last week.
Yeah, he KO'd you. Let me ask you about Posse and Suzanne Chalene.
My favorite subject. Go ahead.
We know they're with attorneys right now from the Sundogs. They also have a special attorney they've hired that's an expert in immigration.
I'm shaking.
Well, right now we know there's also a court appearance this week. Why did you ever do this? I mean, I think there's something more to it than...
I told you, being the great American that I am, it is my civic duty to once again preserve the Constitution of the United States.
I guarantee you we have not heard the end of this controversy, to say the least, but Hawk, the Rustlers trailing by 10 have got their work cut out for them.
Well, Mark D'Amato always has something to say, and he had his way with these Rustlers, and right now the Quakes are too.
We'll be back with the second half of the Texas Rustlers and the California Quakes right after this.
Get the latest info on your favorite team. Email players and fans, even buy your favorite Jam merchandise, all with the click of a mouse. Get online and get to www.rollerjam.com.
We're back, everyone, and so far it's been all California Quakes as they lead it by 10. And Hawk, I don't know what the Rustlers can do to get into this one.
Well, they better hustle because the hay is almost in the barn and the Texas Rustlers may be done soon.
And the Quakes looking to add to this big 10-point lead as right off the bat they break out. This is Heather Sunderman coming out for the Texas Rustlers. They call her Taz. Laura Hyzer out of Cummings, Georgia, 5'10", 132. I think Sunderman right here with those long legs may have the edge, especially you see right now as she tries to go low on the track, a better center of balance with their even Steven as they come around to the pack. So far, Amy Craig has been unable to break out of the pack, being tangled up the other jammer, Pam Hutchinson. But right now, down goes Sunderman and Laura Hyzer Taz trying to cut into this 10-point deficit. She comes back again. Stacy Blitz back to block along with Brooke Sunderman. This is Blitz and Sunderman, two of the bigger gals on the California Quakes coming through. Talisa Miller want to take one of the hardest hitters, had little or no effect on that double block set up by the Quakes as we come up on 10 seconds left in the jam. Once again coming around, it's Hyzer and down. Oh, a great job right there by Talisa Miller, taking down both Sunderman and Blitz to allow the Rustlers to finally get some points back on the board.
And we saw last period Sean Atkinson getting physical, paving the way for jammers. Right here, Tink Miller paves the way for Laura Hyzer. Danny?
All right, I'm here with the wild man, Chris Cheadle. The heck does that mean?
Wild man's right there. That's the way it is right there.
Well, let me ask you, since you guys have stolen the Quakes playbook, I find it...
Oh, we didn't steal any Quake playbook. There's no such thing as a playbook. We got it right here. It's all heart. Heart of Texas, baby. It's where it's at, right there.
Well, Chris Cheadle, I beg to differ. Anyone closely associated with the World Skating League knows there are very extensive playbooks by every single team. And once again, the Quakes go to a real speed lineup. They've got Amy Craig and Brooke Sunderman, rather Heather Sunderman, one of the two sisters back to jam. And you see Amy Craig, the speedster. Boy, the Quakes are very glad to have her back, break out of the pack. But the bigger Texas Rustler again, Talisa Miller, Taz, almost takes her down, but again, a good job staying on her feet. Like, I beg your pardon, Stacy Blitz, a last-minute jamming switch for the California Quakes. What a battle this one is, Miller and Blitz.
Well, Stacy Blitz saw that the Rustlers came out with a couple of quick points. She, as the veteran leader, said, look, I'm not going to let this get out of our control. She definitely went out ahead of the pack, taking control for her California Quakes. No Rustlers are going to get any points on her watch, kid.
And Stacy Blitz comes around, closing on the back. We've talked it about again. Captain Sean Atkinson doing a tremendous job. Down goes Blitz from a big knee from Kerry Johnson. But again, Sean Atkinson doing a great job purging who he thought were the individual members of the Quakes and uniting this club.
When you see Stacy Blitz getting up, shows you what I know. I'm so busy talking about how great Stacy Blitz is, and Kerry Johnston with a knee block to the midsection of Stacy Blitz sends her down, arms up in celebration, and the Texas Rustler cheerleaders don't seem to realize or don't care that they're way down, Ken.
Well, at least they're beginning to come back. I will say that for the Rustlers. They certainly don't say die, but they've got their work cut out for them, no question. And we're underway once again, 17-9. California Quakes. It's been all Quakes so far ever since they came up with that incredible 10-point jam at the end of the second period. The Rustlers have had little or no effect cutting into that scoring deficit. And now Amy Craig, one of the speedsters for the Quakes, out jamming along with Laura Hyzer, the fastest of the Texas Rustlers. And Hyzer certainly has her work cut out for her.
And Amy Craig, we've always talked about her coming back from that injury. I'll tell you what, kid, she's not moving like she usually does. I think she's still nursing a little bit of that bad back. And earlier, I believe it was the same Laura Hyzer, number 43 for the Rustlers, who gave her a couple of legal elbows to the upper chest. May have knocked some wind out of her.
And now here they come. Amy Craig sends Hyzer into the rail, and Amy Craig goes over two of the Texas Rustlers that were all tied up by Brooke Sunderman and Stacy Blitch. We can't say enough about Blitch's team performance.
And Amy Craig apparently scores points here. Stacy Blitch paving the way. But you know what, Ken? Our referee, Sean Corbin, is saying that the points are disallowed because Stacy Blitch illegally took down several of the Texas Rustlers. Amy Craig not too pleased about it. Stacy Blitch doesn't seem to care as the Quakes are way ahead.
Well, there's no question. It's been all California Quakes, as the California Quake men certainly are unconcerned. And now Broadway Danny Wolf is standing by with the sweetheart out of Fairhope, Alabama.
All right, here with Amy Craig. Great last jam by you. You guys are having an easy time with the Rustlers.
Easy. I ride them like I ride and break my horses back home. They're nothing.
How about the mega match? You want to get the mega match?
Oh, we're in the mega match. They're nothing. We'll take them forces on and we'll beat them.
And now coming out for the Quakes, this is Stacy Blitch. Almost lost her balance, and she's being pursued by Talisa Miller. They call her Tink. Miller, without question, the hardest hitter on this Texas Rustler team. We've talked about this matchup between Bliss and Miller. It gets very physical.
Well, in this first jam, I want to say we saw the Rustlers came out with that. They got 2 quick points in the first jam trying to cut into that lead, but they've had no success since, and we're running out down here low late in the third period, Ken.
Elbow by Stacy Blitch on Miller slows her down, and now the big knee by Carrie Johnson, and it backfired as Johnson and Miller both get tangled up. Stacy Blitch went by one and decided to hang around and admire the handiwork.
And it looks like Malibu Stacy Blitch was blowing a kiss at Carrie Johnson. We saw her do that in the first half too, Ken.
That's one kiss from Stacy Blitch. That kind I could do without.
Well, what precipitated it, you see right there, Carrie Johnston and Tink Miller go down at the hands of Stacy Blitch. Physical play and blowing kisses by Stacy Blitch.
You can only tempt fate so many times. The big knee block from Carrie Johnston worked earlier, but it absolutely backfired this time. This time, Blitch was ready. And we say this is a very familiar duo now jamming for the California Quakes, the two bod squatters. Jamie Conomack breaks free on the inside, and now finally one of the Rustlers pursuing her. This is Laura Lavin as they come around. Conomack and Lavin, and now suddenly Cindy Zimmerman breaks free along with Pam Hutchinson. So we've got all 4 jammers out.
And Jamie Conomack, we haven't heard much about her today. She's been too busy taunting the Rustler cheerleaders and the Rustler women, but now she's getting out to score some points, Ken.
Good bot squad move. We've seen it so many times. Conomack and Zimmerman each drop their opposing jammers with elbows. And the bot squad a golden opportunity. They've doubled it up so far, 18-9. And here comes Zimmerman and Conomack. And look who's back to block, pulling them up, their teammate Stacy Blitch. And it was a double bot squad bust right there by Stacy Blitch. They've worked on it all week where she gives a double whip, and boy did it pay off. Called the double bot squad bust.
And the double bod squad bust, Jamie Conomack and Cindy Zimmerman, the beneficiary of the modified double whip from Stacy Blitch. And Malibu Stacy is going at it with number 48, Tink Miller. This battle's been brewing all day, Ken.
Remember, they started right in the very opening period. Stacy Blitch decided to make a statement. Talisa Miller, the go-to of the Rustlers. And right now it is all California Quakes. We'll be back. We're back, everyone, as we get ready for the start of the final period. It's gone from bad to worse for the Rustlers. They now trail at 22-9. The one nice thing, Hawk, in a blowout like this, it gives us a chance to talk about some of the players we ordinarily don't get time to mention.
Well, you always talk about the jammers, just similar to the backs for offensive teams on football. But Rusty Montgomery is a big blocker for the California Quakes that we never mention enough.
Being in the National Guard made me a stronger man in a lot of ways. One way was I was part of the cleanup of the Northridge, California quake in '94, and there was so much devastation that you had to be tough.
Well, he's one tough cookie, that Rusty Montgomery.
You can certainly see it on the faces of the Texas Rustlers. They have struggled all season long, and now down 22-9. Captain Bill Daly did his best to try and pump them up, but I don't know if it's going to have any effect. You see Eric Slopey out the white pony for the Quakes. It does a good job of dropping Craig Fisher to his knees, and this was the last thing the Rustler men wanted to see. Again, California with a chance to add to this big lead.
And there you see coming down the stretch, Eric Slopey on his white pony.
And back waiting for him is Captain Bill Daney. Remember, he and Sean Atkinson have gone at it before. There's no love lost. You see the two of them. Atkinson with a whip. And what a great move. Rusty Montgomery basically hit Eric Slopey from Daly's view. Slopey goes right by and just adding points to the California Quakes as this is getting out of hand. Sean Atkinson goes right after Craig Fisher, takes him down, holding that chokehold. Craig Fisher looks like he's pleading for his life and may well be. Now Atkinson just takes away like yesterday's laundry.
And did you see the expression on Craig Fisher's face? It was like, yes, sir, Mr. Atkinson. Just don't kill me, Mr. Atkinson. But Eric Slopey, we talk about Eric Slopey's ability to jam, but you see some physical play, and of course, it wouldn't be a hole without seeing the white pony. But Rusty Montgomery right there, we saw an interview with him earlier talking about physical play, very physical play by Rusty Montgomery.
And you can see the California Quakes are having no problem, and they are enjoying this one. 25-9, this one getting out of hand. You can see it even in that altercation. The Rustlers just don't have any spirit left. It's happened to them so many times. They show flashes of brilliance, and suddenly the game gets away. That 10-point jam by the Quake men at the end of the second period took the life right out of them. And now Anthony Santiago, the 17-year-old, the youngest skater in the WSL, flying around the track. Marcus Abrera trying to catch him, but even Abrera is coasting around. You can just see all the life going out of the Rustlers.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head, Ken. The life came out of him with that 10-point jam right at the end of the second period, and they haven't been able to put it together since.
Now you certainly hope the referee will be able to maintain control as this one, scoreboard-wise, is getting out of hand. Abrera finally coming around. The big elbow from Rusty Montgomery. It's almost like Abrera wants no part of anything. Look at Sean Atkinson, again laying in wait outside the track and almost decapitated Marcus Abrera.
Well, he calls that the skyscraper. We saw it, I think, last week. I tell you what, that's got to be illegal for him to go up there. And you see him, Sean Atkinson, laying in wait. And I tell you, Marcus Abrera, he calls it the skyscraper. If that's the skyscraper, then Marcus Abrera is a World Trade Center in Manhattan, and there's turmoil in the streets, Ken.
And you see referee Sean Corbin now taking Sean Atkinson to the penalty box, a one-jam penalty for interference. And I guess interference is as good as anything when you go outside the track and try and decapitate your opponent. Now, Broadway Danny Wolf is in the box with the Ack Attack.
All right, I'm here with Sean Atkinson, the skyscraper. It is a party, isn't it?
This is just so much fun. I tell you what, I'm going to invite my parents to watch. They've never seen a massacre. Oh, Daddy!
Oh, Daddy is right. He's having a ball, Ken.
And now it's Brian Gallagher and Eric Slopey. It was Craig Fisher that went over the rail. We had talked earlier, the Quakes were a little concerned about their missing playbook. Felt maybe Brian Gallagher took it, but if he did, it's had little or no offense. And very honestly, if that be the case, the Quake management have to accept some part of the blame in pro sports. When a player's traded, first thing you do is get the playbook. Now look at that, the pack goes down. Now a great move. Gallagher went over the pack. Slopey went through the infield. We'll see if they warrant any points.
And Sean Atkinson goes right after Brian Gallagher. He wasn't happy at all with the performance of Brian Gallagher, and it was a blowout, Ken, but now it might be turning into a melee.
And it's a tag team as Rusty Montgomery picks right up from Sean Atkinson. The only problem is Brian Gallagher has no partner himself. Now, finally, the referees are now on the other side. Here goes Bill Daly going after Sean Atkinson. It's all broken loose. This is what we were afraid of.
And if these Rustlers are going to salvage something, this might be what they're trying to do, is salvage something in an otherwise lost cause.
Welcome back, everyone. And so far, Sean Atkinson is running roughshod over the entire Rustler team. The last victim of his Ack Attack is Marcus Abrera, and Danny Wolf is going to see if Abrera can even still talk.
All right, I'm here with Marcus Abrera. Marcus, look at you. I mean, you've taken the brunt of everything, including the skyscraper by Atkinson.
Man, we just come out here to skate. That big guy, I don't know how he gets away with it. These refs really need to pay attention because he's killing us out here. That guy's big.
Well, he's big, and it looks like he's also nursing a little bit of an injury, Ken. Apparently, he might have injured himself before he went into the penalty box there.
Very heads-up play calling by referee Sean Corbin, giving the Quakes the 2 points they gained early in the jam. Passing Craig Fisher had gone over the rail, but disallowing Eric Slopey's points because he crossed the pack onto the infield. So it is 27-13. Referee Corbin really coming into his own as of late. And now out jamming. This is Sigmund Williams for the Rustlers, who are in dire need of points. And again, the same situation. A double team by Santiago and Gary Lockerby send Williams to the track. And now two Quake jammers all alone, but laying back. Captain Bill Daly, who's still playing this one with as much ferocity as he started the game. But boy, they're in a serious hurt, trailing 27-13. Daly laying in wait now. The elbow just pins. Tried to pin Lockerby along the rail, and it backfired on Daly. It's awful tough, Hawk, to go 2 against 1 when you're flying around the track. And now again, Lockerby and Santiago closing through the entire pack, both going high. It's almost like the Rustlers, the intestinal fortitude is just gone. The tank is on empty.
And for the Quakes now, it's all about getting ready for the mega match, facing the leaders of the pack, the New York Enforcers. You see them celebrating a little bit. It's all about strategy now, Ken. There's nothing left in this game but to prepare for the leaders of the pack in the mega match. Danny?
All right, with the Quakes up by a big 24 points with just over a minute left. Sean Atkinson, we just heard, sprained his MCL. He is still skating in the game, but I'll tell you what, when the Enforcers get a hold of the Quakes in the big mega match, don't think that Mark D'Amato won't know this and use it to his advantage. I think the Quakes are going to be in for a long afternoon if D'Amato knows what's going on here.
And Hawk, I've just been informed by our statistician, James Ponte, this is the first time in WSL history we have had 2 10-point jams by one team in the same game.
Well, that's got to be discouraging to the Rustlers. They're coming off that horrific defeat overall at the New York Enforcers, and now we got them, they're setting scoring records on the bad end of scoring records all over the World Skating League.
Ryan Gallagher and Craig Fisher out jamming now for the Texas Rustlers, but we're well under a minute to go. Half a minute in this jam. Remember, the jam continues in the final period, but it is way too little, way too late for the Rustlers. They're down 37-13, and that's been the story. You see Gallagher, they try to set up a double butt block to take out Eric Slopey, and what happens? They take each other out. Slopey hops over more of the Rustlers, and mercifully, Hawk, this one has come to an end with 2 more California Quake points.
When you talk about mercy, well, the mercy killing may be over, but waiting in the wings for these California Quakes as they celebrate are the New York Enforcers. As Mark D'Amato looks on, and it looks like he's going to get dressed, Ken. It's been easy so far. It's not going to be the case later.
As Mark D'Amato goes to get ready for the mega match, Broadway Danny Wolf is standing by with the victorious Quakes.
All right, the Quakes, big, easy victory. I guess cheaters never prosper. The Rustlers, even with the playbook, still get blown out. Same old Rustler team on television. But the Bod Squad, you guys were great today. Stacy, you girl-handled Talisa Miller. No problems with her.
Not a problem. You know what? The Texas team, the whole state of Texas is a bunch of steers and queers. I mean, they don't have the rhythm, they don't have the looks, they don't have anything, and they don't have the Quake shake. I mean,
now they're the Texas cheerleaders.
They need cheerleaders to represent them. I mean, put on skates. Put on skates. Yeah. Let's see.
We're looking. Here we go. The cheerleaders. Quakes with the big victory. They're going to go into the mega match against the Enforcers. And right now, we'll let the Quake girls, the Bod Squad, go at it with the cheerleaders. Back to you.
Well, Hawk, right now, the Bod Squad sounding very confident.
Yes, but I tell you what, the Sisters of Suffering are a very different team than the Texas Rustlers.
Exactly. Remember, it's coming up next. The mega match, the California Quakes and the defending leaders of the pack, the Enforcers. It's next.